Wing It Live.
Welcome to Scale Builders Guild.
What's going on? Welcome, Harleydesigns and I. What
episode 154 of the live stream takeover. Pardon our tardiness.
It's Matt's fault.
It was not my fault whatsoever. I've been ready.
Not this week.
Not this week. Most of the weeks it's not my fault. Check in. Let us know where you're watching from and how many inches of snow have you gotten so far.
Sorry, I had an echo going. I fixed it. My bad. The technical
It's like
issues.
we've never done this before, ever. 154 times.
Things
we
change
always
constantly.
manage to have a problem. So
Anyway,
high five. High five.
We
to
change
that.
nothing. That side back. We change nothing. Everything changes.
It's true. That's just the nature of being on computers, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
So,
I'll put my audio.
Yeah.
Sorry. There we go.
okie dokie. That's fine. Don't worry about being late. You'll get the hang of this soon. Well, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. We have season 3 starting in 2 weeks. 4. Season 4 starts in.
Yeah, season 4 starts in 3 weeks from now.
Right.
Because it's 157 is the first one.
Amazing.
Unbelievable. Hard to believe we've been doing this long and still haven't converted all these to podcast format.
Yeah, we want to get a couple hundred under our belt first. Don't
What we
rush
can do,
into
though,
things.
we'll start doing the podcast version, and then we'll have to go in and edit all of them to add all the ads for MailChimp and what's another? ND mattresses, maybe.
Who did the Dollar Shave Club?
Right, yeah. So actually, well, there you go. We just did it. It's done.
Yeah. Insert Dollar Shave Club ad here. So.
Yep. Saved ourselves 3 ads. Save yourself 5% at Scale Metal Supplies. Anyway, so big show tonight. We've got Brian Nunez, who is a product product manager from Losi on tonight. Does Volvo make a snowblower? I wish they did.
Oh, right. Your hybrid.
I'm going
hybrids.
deep. I'm going deep into the Volvo world now.
Yes, I did get a new chair. Thank you. Trying it out.
Oh my God.
It goes so much higher than before. My feet are not touching the ground right now. I'm like...
That's good, because you look really short still.
I don't know what that means.
Because you look short in the frame. You look small. That's... Okay, that's better. Much better.
There you go.
This is the first time ever I think we're at the same level. But for all of you viewers out there, I've been doing this show in this chair for 154 episodes. I live in this chair. Live in it.
I am planning to cycle chairs. One is leaving. The normal one that I had in here, I'm taking to my editing desk, and now this one in here. This is a new one from Ewin. You'll hear more about this soon on the Scale News Update.
Yuck.
Get ready.
Hashtag brought to you by.
Brought to you by.
It doesn't squeak like it used to. Yes, it does, David.
He just doesn't.
Yes, it does.
This is a high quality champion level gaming chair.
Yeah. This chair was made in '06, and it's been
the first
sat
one.
on by many asses. I think we need to start a new chair fund for Matt. No, you know what? When I get to the outdoor studio, we're going to buy a new chair for that room, I think.
That's a good call. That's a good call. So
yeah,
that will be the right time, But the you know what? I was noticing the snowmobile just over your shoulder there, and
what, that one?
Yeah, and just the quality of your timing of finishing that. So
tell me about it, man. Oh man, it's perfect. I think we're at about 3 inches already, with more on the way.
Wow.
Yes.
I
I
saw
might
like
after
12
the
to 18
show.
inches?
Holy,
Is that what
is that how much they're calling for here?
We were just
Yikes.
watching the news minutes ago, so that's what it looked like. The bubble, not nearly as much as what is expected at the mod's house of Alex and Jesse. It looks like they could get the worst of things. Minneapolis and Bellevue, Michigan.
Oh, they're in the Michigan area. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Jesse, Alex.
Got a foot in less than 12 hours. Cool. Looking forward to that. What I'm going to do is probably go out after the show and shovel my driveway and my neighbor's driveway. And then I'm going to try out the ski ride. I might actually charge a battery during the show so I can go give it a little zip around the street.
Rad. Looking forward to it. Yeah, exactly.
Break it in the dark so then when I go to film tomorrow, it's broken.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that will be. I'll be interested to see what you get put out for that. Gunnar Nissen, thank you, sir. Just wanted to thank everyone for their orders over the weekend. I really appreciate it, and it was needed. Hopefully, the volume continues. It's needed. Yes.
Nice.
Satisfied Jerky. He was saying things had been slow for orders on Friday, and he was just like, "This is not a sustainable thing if orders are this slow." But evidently, things picked up. So you can go to satisfiedjerky.com. Maybe he needs a jingle. She'll work one of those up, Matt.
That's not really
something as catchy as "What's on the bench weekly."
Weekly. Which coincidentally is tomorrow. And if you are interested in how that thing looks all done, that'll be on that tomorrow morning. And also the TRX4 high lift, low lift F-150 Ranger XLT.
Right, which had a sneak peek in the Road to the Rockies video today.
Indeed it did. It was right there.
Yeah. And it was like, look, that is lower than it came out of the box as.
Very low.
Matt is great at ruining people's product ideas with.
If you've got a product out there that you want ruined, send it my way.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to release an extra lifted truck. Send it to that guy. I know what I'm going to do. Lower it.
Well, or make it even higher.
Right. Never
that
satisfied, no matter what.
Yeah. Never not stopping.
A-Dubs FPV, thank you. Hey Josh, about to buy some F10T axles for my C1 Yoda build. That has AR-45 straights on it now. What other parts will I need from you? Diffs, stubs. You will need axle shafts because it does have different inner axle shafts than your AR-45s, but your ring gear, pinion gear, and locker will all transfer across. And knuckles you'll probably need because AR-45 knuckles are not the same as AR-44 knuckles. They're ever so slightly different, which made no sense whatsoever.
What about links? Will you need different links? Different pan?
Yeah, maybe slightly. You might just be within rod ends difference of changing some stuff. So, yeah. Somewhere in there.
What's your thoughts on Red Cat trying to copy the Traxxas TRX4? I didn't know they were.
What?
Is that a thing? It's something we have not seen. Hello, Craig. Maybe because it has portals? Other than that, I wouldn't say they're...
Are they just saying like the Gen 9? Or
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't see the parallel. Yeah.
Anyway, Brian Nunez on the show this evening. We're going to pop him on here in about 17 minutes-ish or so.
Yeah. We're going to talk...
how are you, Josh? You want to talk Road to the Scale Rocky Regionals?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you post the reel like you said you may?
I did.
Did you?
But it wasn't real. I just posted a story.
Oh, okay.
Just made a story.
So, I feel like if you haven't watched the Road to the Regionals, Matt showed loading the first mold of the project.
C1.
And he is the first one to do it.
I think it's because Josh was afraid.
Yeah,
and I had to.
I am
show him
honestly
that it was
like
possible.
I am at that level of the mountain ahead of me. I think Matt has the advantage of just seeing like one part, like, oh, I just got to do this thing. He hasn't seen all the other ones that I'm like
All I
trying
got to
to.
do is this. Just got to do
Like,
this. This is easy. What's the problem with him? Gunnar Nissen, thank you very much. I'm glad you're selling meat again. Tonight's code #mymeat is tasty. And
so
thank you, Dana.
Yes, I posted that. Thank you, Dana, for putting that code in there. So Matt loaded up the hood in his mold, and then it had to sit for close to 24 hours.
Close to. It was 16, but it's cured up a lot more since then.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's definitely. Let me start by showing the mold pieces.
So this is what the mold should look like.
Oh shoot!
Roughly.
I've
now,
done
Matt
it
did
wrong,
use the
obviously.
wrong file to print the one that he did, but it's okay.
Did I? No, I didn't. I used exactly the same file.
No, you didn't print the one with the flat bottom.
I did.
Did you?
Turn
it showed a curved
to
bottom.
the left. Turn it to the left.
My left or your left? To the left. To the left. Everybody.
It doesn't matter. Turn it profile. Up. Up. Yeah, that's the one I printed. Or it had a flat bottom.
I'm gonna go back to the video replay. But
yeah, it did. It had a flat bottom.
Okay.
You know, because I like those flat
bottom girls.
Yeah. So there's two parts to that mold. There is that part there. Mine looks a little bit different than that. I'm not sure why.
It was yellow.
This is why. Well, this is what mine looks like. I'm not sure if I might maybe I used the wrong print. I must use the wrong print format. It's so weird because it looked different when I filmed it than it does now. It's so odd. Anyway, in addition to this piece that you need, your results may vary. It might not look like this. It may also look like this. Who knows? You do a silicone piece as well. So
can you show us how that fit in there?
Well, it's I think it kind of goes like this. I don't know. But yeah, this is what is this? The positive, right? This is the negative. Right. And what you do is you load this up with carbon fiber, much like I showed in the video. You plop this in afterwards, and out comes, with no effort whatsoever, just pops right out.
It just pops right out.
Carbon fiber Porsche hood. Look at that.
And that is raw. So now you got to do all the finishing and sanding and polishing and clear coating to make it look like make
it look like a carbon fiber piece. Now, Josh, you told me that millimeters will be required along the edges, right? Okay.
Exactly.
I'm not going to do any of that cutting yet until you tell me exactly how much I need to cut off, because I am never making this again.
There is no right. I mean, you can leave yourself a little bit if you want some edges just to deal with.
But which I might just for the sake
we'll work
of
around that.
Putting it together. But we can, we'll work on that together. For the most part, I think it came out pretty good. It was a pretty. It was not. It was a more complex piece than I've ever done before.
Yes,
which I think is fair to say. But it worked out pretty well. It looks great. Nice job on the mold, because
the mold is deep. It definitely could have been a thinner mold height wise.
Yeah.
Like if it was oriented a little bit different way. And honestly, the reasons why it wasn't is not because it was the right way to do it this way. Is purely because the model that we started with, the CG model, for me to get it into a way where I could turn it into a solid and then turn it into the piece that I need to make it into the mold, this was just the way that I was able to get it done. If I would have started all the way over, backtracked multiple hours, I could have done it in a way that would have given Matt a higher % chance of still having a mold when it was done.
See, so I'm gonna go. It's not all your fault. But I think it's partially the design of the mold, but also I don't think I used enough release agent because it was stuck on there pretty good, and all I had to do was add copious amounts of heat in order to peel this away, and that's basically what I did.
I've done that a number of times in the past before. And I just be like, if it like is not coming out, it's like, well, it's time to bring the heat, and I just peel it away, and it is
that's
what it is.
That's exactly what I did. So that's why this looks like it does. But a fun experiment.
The next one's going to be a doozy. I've started printing here, and this is one half of it. It'll be 4 pieces total.
Yes.
But this here, that's going to be the edge of the front headlight. So this is a wheel arch, I should say.
Yeah.
And you can see half of the round of the headlight basically.
Yeah.
The other side is a little bit deeper, but not tremendously. This one's got a high probability of issues. We'll see.
Failure.
And it's a lot because of just how I have started a process and got to, and it's like, all right, well, we're just gonna send it. This one is going to be a thing where getting the carbon to get everywhere in this, because it like comes all the way back on itself.
Yeah.
Just by the nature of the shape of this thing. No matter which way you look at it.
We chose a really non-complex shape to start with.
Right. And yeah, the hood was just like, this is the easy one. Let's do that.
Yeah. Good. That was the easy one.
Oh, the hood was absolutely the easy one. This one is going to be very complicated to load, and I'm almost thinking that we're going to do a 2-piece silicone mold to it, so that you can like get it in there, get one part of the silicone in there, finish the rest, and then jam the other silicone one in there.
Yeah. A lot of guys in the video
seen that
today
movie before.
They've suggested why not load the silicone piece with the carbon fiber sheet and then plop that into the mold. Because then, I was worried that I was going to be pushing the carbon sheet in as I was placing this in the mold, because this was a tight fit.
Yeah, no, it is. It technically should be, right? Because it was poured in there to start with.
Yes.
So it's a good point. I'm using chopped toe to lay in first for me.
Right.
So I can just kind of put it around there, do the whole thing. Then I lay a thing of the fabric in there.
Yeah.
And in the end, maybe you could. I didn't find this approach anywhere. I'm just like, maybe this will work.
No, we're making it work.
Yeah,
Josh is making it up as he went along. So
2 times before it, and it has worked successfully enough. This was the side pods for the V Speed.
Yes.
And it worked there. It worked for the hood on the Class 1 before. So I'm just like, give it a shot again.
Yeah. I don't think it matters about heat. Some people are suggesting maybe try it in cooler temperatures. It can't get much cooler in here right now. So.
Oh, yeah. I don't think the temp is going to matter.
Temperature has nothing to do with it.
No.
But anyway, successful part pulled. So we're well on our way. You watched the video today. You'll see my update in 2 more weeks. Probably not going to be a very big update.
I'm guessing
anything for mail call?
I have this chair.
Where is that chair from, Josh?
It's actually from Ewin. You may.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I have a couple of other things, but I don't.
All right. Well, I'll show what I got. Fair enough. I got a whole selection of things from the Hard Body Crawler Company, including this FJ45-ish body. Do not believe it to be licensed. That's okay. They also sent along their bumpers for the said body, some wheel hubs, some license plate holders, and some
Lots of
wheels.
details.
Lots
Hey,
of
look
details.
at that. Now, this is all made for an SCX24?
Yes, correct. SCX24. Those are 1-inch beadlocks. So I'll choose one of my SCX24s and plop all that stuff on there in the next couple of days.
Well,
probably do a video on it. Yeah.
Yes.
I also got this 2-part silicone kit.
Yeah, I've got some as well. I decided to go with the 2-gallon kit.
Yeah, so. Mine. If I wanted it away and I needed it, that's not 2 gallons.
This is not my silicone. This is epoxy resin for the carbon fiber.
Yes, I'm still on my original kit from Advanced Composites.
Yes. This method will be much more...
easy composites. Not advanced, easy.
Easy. Yeah. This method that we're doing will be a lot lighter on the amount of epoxy we need, or resin we need, whatever. That's good news for us.
Was that flesh-colored silicone? No, mine was blue, DK. I don't need flesh-colored like I used to use. Still have some of that.
I think that I would show you the molds from my from the side pods, but I think they may have made it into the. No, one of them did. I think the other one made it into the box of the truck that I never got paid for.
Oh, nuts!
I still have one of them here.
That stinks. Blind Guy RC, thank you very much. I made it. These molds are cool, tricky as well. Love the 911 idea. Great job on the Ford video. Thank you. I got a gimbal too and some RC stuff I needed. Awesome. Great. Congrats. Hardbody also fits the Galande 1/18 scale, if anybody cared.
Yeah.
I don't.
Not unless you got a mystery box at some point you needed to.
Though it would make sense because I think that is a leaf sprung. Is it leaf sprung? 18th scale one?
I thought I remember. I thought the only leaf sprung 1/18 scale was the old Pro line.
24th.
Yeah,
TF2,
24th.
24 scale? Oh, no, the Pro line one. Yeah. That was good.
The Pro line one. That looked like a Scout.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
So
I promptly ruined that one as well.
I never had that. I never bought that one.
They should just not send me stuff because I will ruin it.
Ambush. Yes, it was there.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. All right. Well, it's almost 9:30. Should we bring Brian on?
Yeah. Why don't you try and bring Brian on? I believe that we are going to have a bit of a technical issue on this side for a moment. So
what?
We're going to find out. Still get
participant.
Okay, still get Brian. Matt's face. We got that.
That's good. Okay.
That's a half win.
Sorry, I've got to set this up here as I go. Adding. Stand by, everyone. Beep, bop, boop.
I know that none of you can see me. You should feel bad, I'm sure.
I can see you, Brian. Stand by for 1 sec there, pal.
Matt got ultra tiny for a second.
Right. Get to listen to the hum of Brian's air conditioner, which is always good.
Is it?
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's okay. 1 second. Okay.
I had Brian's image for a second, but for some reason it's not.
There he is.
Is it working on your side?
Yes.
Okay.
All
working on it over here.
Oh, and someone's got a lifted Chevy driving past him, I think. For those of you who don't know, is it okay if I start, Josh?
Yeah, go for it. We're working on the details over here.
Brian Nunez works at Losi. He's responsible for a lot of very cool stuff that's come out recently, and probably in the past as well that I don't know about. But welcome him to the show. We're going to talk a little bit today most likely about that new side-by-side that you released. So welcome, Brian. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. It's honored. I always get to see Richard on here, and now I'm the cool guy. Sweet.
Thank you for joining, Brian. I appreciate it as
with
well.
With all offense intended to Richard, he is not cool. So
he's probably hearing me right now, so I'll raise my voice because he's a little older, so hard of hearing.
Yeah, I'll have him get his reading glasses too. Congratulations on that that side-by-side, man. That thing is cool as.
Thanks. It was a long time coming. It's I think
really
4 years.
Because if I'm honest, I saw something from Losi. Well, I thought it was from Losi a couple months ago.
Was it? Oh man, I can bore you with the details, but
yeah, I would love that. I think all of us would love that. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Let's talk about this release. How did this come about? What was sort of the motivation?
There's always multiple points, right? There's never like just one key thing that goes, let's do it. I think the first thing was one of the first things Axial released once Horizon bought it from Hobbyco or acquired Hobbyco was that Mini Yeti, right? And we knew kind of the issues that it had, especially in the quality side. So we completely we touched up the design and then we remanufactured at one of our manufacturers, Horizon manufacturers. So the quality got better. We saw a response. Initially, everybody kind of, oh, here goes Horizon ruining Axial, right? Not really knowing the details. Now it's a really cool, popular release, super consistent seller. So that was one of the key indicators. And the other thing was just kind of paying attention to everything happening in the full scale, right? You have like Camp Razor, for example. That's a huge event that seems to be growing and growing every year. You go out to the desert, and we were just at King Hammers 2 weeks ago, biggest class right out there. Wyatt Mellon, the engineer behind, the Pro Scaler, he's big into side-by-side, started racing his. So it's obviously a big community you still have a lot of grassroots stuff, high-end racing stuff. So that's what Losi is. So he started to work. But it took a while to get that license and get that product to market for sure.
Now, I would imagine that was one of the big stumbling blocks was getting licensing, because I'm sure a company like it's Polaris, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that they're very protective of their intellectual property and how things look and how things perform. And I mean, it seemed to me like a pretty good match. Losi knows how to make performance grade RC vehicles. I'm sure they would have been all over it, but I'm sure it also took an awful long time to get there.
Yeah, it's one of the things where there's usually never like a disconnection between like, should they do it, should they not, does it make sense? It's normally just the red tape, right? And so normally like bigger companies, they have licensing agencies that handle the licensing for them. It kind of creates a buffer, especially for like Jeep, Chevy, Ford. And if they don't, then it's usually like an in-house, which is usually someone like me who's in marketing who's just handling it. But they have other responsibilities. So getting an agreement takes a while, especially if they're not in the RC industry. They think it's a toy car, it's not worth our time. Once you tell them and they see it, they experience it, it gets more of their attention. But a lot of it took, because if I recall correctly, Polaris was currently hiring an agency to handle their licensing and build up through. So that was a lot of the wait for it, a lot of the convincing. And a lot of it too was kind of, we wanted to do it right. We didn't just want to slap a body and a shell and some panels on top of a solid axle car. So the JRX2, believe it or not, was a testimonial for the 5-link. Junior is huge behind the 5-link, explaining the 5-link. So the JRX2 is kind of what led to a lot of the geometry behind the Razor Ray.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, seeing the proper suspension underneath of the back of that I was super excited to actually see that was done, because like the Yeti Junior or the Arma, the fire team, they're both very side-by-side style, but they don't have the right suspension. So seeing it actually done properly for the first time ever, I was super shocked.
Yeah, and
Never expected.
it benefits us, right? Because even like if you look at the Fun Haver, I think it's not Vaughn's car, but Lauren Healy's car. That's a kind of a trailing arm rear suspension. So
Yeah.
it opens up the door for any potential cars to use it as a platform, right? So there's a lot there. So we're definitely always thinking 3, 4, 5 years and beyond. So
yeah, just that's a whole nother point of it that you don't really think about. You've got an IFS or IRS type setup, and yeah, you can move it around and you put different bodies on it, like everyone always wants to complain about, and it's a new car. But this now adds a whole nother one to it, so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Like how much development time was required for swapping all of that stuff over? Like what was the timing? Because it's a
go ahead, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Normally it's anywhere between 18 months is pretty much as fast as we can kind of develop a product. And with all the
sorry, Hemi-Storm did it in like a couple weeks. So
and then apparently, according to social media, we copied him and did it in like 3 months. So
yeah, it's just like, oh, they saw him do it. They must have decided to jump on board with this.
Like oh, Hemi-Storm should collect the royalties. They're probably paying him. It's we laugh at half of the stuff people post. I know it's all in good fun. We don't take it seriously, but yeah, it's pretty comical.
I'm not surprised that many people got fooled, because I'm one of them. When he showed it off, I was like, holy cow, this thing looks legit. It looks very well put together. And I think he fooled Josh too.
He did fool. Part of it is because of things like some of the recent axials that were done, like the Elite version and the special edition K10, because they had Pro-Line wheels and tires on them. Mm-hmm. And they were kind of done in this way that was like a mix of the brand, because it had 1.9s and big Pro-Line tires. I was like, that's kind of an odd choice that doesn't really make a ton of sense. But I was like,
they would make their own tire, wouldn't they? They put a new tire on this if they were
doing it. They put a proper tire on this thing, I would think.
So it didn't fool me, but that's because I literally found out about the day before he posted it. I found out about it. He kind of gave us a heads up, 24-hour heads up, which was really cool. But yeah, I can tell you that it caused a complete poop storm internally. I'm talking like head of sales, head of our website. How did this get leaked? What happened? Where did we go wrong? It was like, whoa, pump the brakes, everybody. But yeah, it fooled more than just YouTube for sure.
I would have loved that conversation, because it's been like, how did we let this leak? And then everyone's like, and then also, how did it change so much from all the production samples we got?
Well, believe it or not, like that's one of the things. A lot of the people are corporate or remote, so they don't really see the product until like sales training, right? But it was amazing how many people. I'll tell you what, me personally on the marketing side, it made me look at our car, that car, and be like, should we have gone with oversized tires? Should we have gone with more of an aggressive look? Should we have, but ultimately we're like, let's just make it as scale as possible. And then people like you guys are the ones that make it look super legit. And so.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. We could talk about that a little bit, because I gotta say, it's probably one of the more scale accurate looking vehicles that Losi's put out. I mean, I know that the Laser Nuts come out, and the Super Baja Ray was super scale accurate and looked great. But this one's kind of towing the line between what I would expect Losi to do, and gosh, I can't think of anybody else who would go this far into this scale kind of.
I agree, because
realm.
What's often done with the RCs is usually oversized tires, squattier proportions of a body overall. I mean, they kind of stretch it and make it look a little bit more, caricaturized of a version, because there are RCs and you want to jump them 15 feet in the air, where that would be hyper unrealistic. But yeah, this one, the photo, it looks like no one has built an RC version of a side-by-side, I think, that looks nearly this proportionally realistic.
Yeah, we definitely, besides the rear suspension, like that tire looks like a standard short course, diameter tire. It's actually, I want to say, a little bit less than half an inch taller. So that was like, you can talk to Richard about that. Like I fought tooth and nail for that. Like the proportions look wrong with a standard short course size tire, just looked too small. It looked stock, I guess, right? It didn't look like a legit Razor with 33s on it. So this was right around the time of the Mint 400 last year. So we took a bunch of reference photos, compared it to ours, and yeah, I mean, Richard was like, we're really going to retool a complete tire just for this, and with some support from the Proline team and all that stuff, we ended up doing it. But
that's cool.
Once you look at it, we really touched a lot of little points, and you know, when things get smaller, you change things 10 millimeters here, half an inch there, whatever. It makes a big difference when you add it all together. So
right,
we definitely went extra mile.
I have to agree with you there. Rich is just always wrong. So I'm right.
He's never been right. He's always asked me, and I've had to correct him on things. So that's good to know.
He's lucky to have us. All three of us, really.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Now let's talk a little bit about the marketing release, because this was kind of interesting to me, and I'm sure a lot of other people picked up on this. But you shot the video at King of Hammers. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that you were involved in that, because I know that mm-hmm. you are pretty heavily involved on the video side of things when you're shooting promotional stuff. You went through all the tents of like all the sponsors that are mm-hmm. on this vehicle. How did nobody see this? Did you do it at like 3 a.m, 4 a.m, or what?
No, they did. They did for sure, and they asked.
I'm surprised it didn't leak. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. I think a lot of people. We did have a few people stop us and ask. At one point, we were carrying the glamour cars, and some of the photography will be at the Polaris booth. And they're like, "What happened? Why are you carrying them?" I'm like, "Oh, we have to keep them clean for the glamour." So people definitely took notice. But yeah, like this is how crazy it is for us. So this project was actually not supposed to release till early next month. But long story short, through COVID, it was taking up to 3 months for shipping from. To just get the container from the port to our warehouse, right? Because there was such a crazy thing. So we were allocating for that amount of time. And now that we're kind of transitioning, this was one of those projects where, hey, it's going to be in our warehouse tomorrow. So now it's one of those things where, and it wasn't literally tomorrow. I think they literally came in the warehouse this week. But the point is, our brass, our upper brass, the bigwigs are like, hey, we can't have thousands of dollars in inventory sitting here for a month. So you need to release this week. And we're like, whoa, this is King Hammers. I'm literally packing up. And we're like, okay, do it next week. And we're like, whoa. And the word that I'll use is we were directed, not suggested, to launch this. So literally we had a video shoot planned with Casey Curry and all that stuff. And we're still going to do that. So you guys can keep an eye out for that. But it was literally a last-minute pivot. Literally the Friday before King of Hammers, we shot that video Tuesday, and we announced the car. Robert Bauer from the Proline team, he's a madman, took all that content. And it's not just, you guys have downloading alone footage takes hours, then going through it, the whole thing. And he
I know.
The following week. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the premise of it. So I think the video overall, came out great. But
Robert did an amazing job.
The few hours that we had, it ended up working out. We incorporated all the partners in there. I think we got to get a little bit of kind of guerrilla marketing with people out there checking it out, people asking about it at the booth. So I think overall it went well.
Yeah, you did a great job. Really, really nicely done.
Thanks.
Question from the chat here,
mm-hmm.
From Checkered Past here. He's curious about when Axial was acquired. Does Losi look at Axial's pending projects and determine which ones might fit the Losi brand better than the Axial brand?
100%, and we have very healthy debates about it. So
spirited debates, yes, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, they're always good conversations. I mean, and that's one of the big benefits of us now being one team with Arma, with Axial, with Proline. Is before we had 2 brands primarily, right? You had ECX, or 3 really, ECX budget brand, Vatera, which was your crawler segment, really specifically.
Never heard of them.
Yep.
Nobody had.
And then you had Losi, which was supposed to battle with Traxxas, with everybody else, right? So we weren't really able to each brand have its own identity. Now it can, but there is still some gray areas, and there will always be kind of overlap product. But like I can tell you, the Axial Rift, was one of those products that we looked at heavily and said, is this an Axial car, or is it more performance oriented and becomes a Losi product?
Right.
You know, because it's one of those hybrid vehicles that does motorsports, but it's also rock. So,
right, and especially when it's when it's an all new tooling like the Rift was, you could kind of decide to put it anywhere. Like with the Razor Ray, it's already half the Losi car. So
yeah,
and that was actually a good call.
Imagine if you did do the Rift though.
Oh,
it would be. I think ultimately they made the right call, especially because now we have the big selling point was now we can use those axles, on a different future Axial release and whatnot. So I think overall, to your point, that tooling can be better used under the Axial brand long term. But yeah, to answer that question, we have very spirited conversations about product ideas and where they should land.
Has it ever come to fist fights?
Never, never, ever. It's
lame.
It's definitely come to a few, slapping of the laptops to end a Teams meeting or walking into the office.
That's it. See you later.
Yeah, exactly. You can't find your mouse fast enough to click end.
Yeah. Now, you've been at Horizon for a long time. You had an anniversary recently with them, right?
How do you know this? Dude, you guys doing research?
LinkedIn,
now?
Man.
Obviously,
we're on LinkedIn.
Man. No, his LinkedIn page hasn't been updated like ever.
I don't have one, I don't think.
Yes, you do. It hasn't been updated in a really long time.
You do, but it's not you, maybe. It's another guy.
No, it is. It says product development engineer at Horizon. And it's like,
wow.
It says Brian hasn't made a post in a really long time. I'm like, I guess. So
I'm not even there's a whole story. Long story short, I've been at Horizon 11 years. On February 13th, the day right before.
Congratulations! That's fantastic.
Started as an intern while I was going to school for engineering. Did that for 5 years. That was a blast. I miss SolidWorks and design. But that project, actually, the Losi, the 6, the Audi, that was kind of my transition into marketing. So today I am the Losi brand manager. So I handle pretty much the entire brand and the marketing aspects of the brand. Working with the PD team on what products to release, and then I do licensing and all the motorsports partnerships, NASCAR, all that stuff for the entire Surface division. So,
yeah, that's
just a couple of things.
Cool. Yeah, exactly.
That's my thing. I pretty much just sit here and type away. That's all it is.
No big deal. He doesn't even own any RCs. He just that's a display model back there.
I just literally stole this from the office today.
He's like, I'm gonna be on TV later, guys. I need some stuff for the back to make it look like I'm cool.
Yeah, saw that you'd been there a long time. Now, a lot has changed at Horizon over the time that you've been there. Obviously, you've said how your positions have changed and things like that, but how has the Horizon itself changed since you've been there?
A lot. It's changed a lot. And majority of it being good. I think there was definitely a phase, kind of 2014, 2015 era where we got a little bit gung-ho, a little bit wild with our ideas, thought that we can kind of out-engineer ourselves. And I think, Vatera was kind of a good segment of that. This product was a really good example of that. It's like, let's just create the biggest, baddest thing. And then marketing always came like the last month before announcement and said, okay. But really, it's more about the branding. It's more about the story. So I think we realized the importance of that. I think that's one thing that Axial did really well, right? It was a lifestyle.
Yes.
Lifestyle brand. Yep.
So I think working at Horizon's always been awesome, especially for the PD group and the managers there, like Todd Hodge, has always been amazing. But I think once we made that shift of kind of appreciating marketing, the product development, working closer with marketing, and then once we kind of acquired Hobbyco and the brands, it was like nothing's holding us back now. So of course there's still challenges and whatnot, but overall, as a company, they definitely put their employees first. And you know, it's a big company and you have some red tape and whatnot here and there, but I'll say this, there's been a lot of companies that have gone bankrupt, especially over the past 10 years. And Horizon continues to stay strong. So even though it may seem like we're silly sometimes or release silly product, it's for a reason. And that's to keep our doors open, you know, so.
Yeah, that's, you know, you see those comments that, you know, like this, nobody is interested in this or things like that. It's just like, well, you maybe don't. It may be the people that you talk to, but you're likely less informed about the overall market and you don't have the data in the back to see what has been popular and is popular, what thousands of stores say or tell, or, you know, what, not that you just go to random people and say, what should we make? What should we make? What should we make? But you hear things, you watch a market, you watch trends, and yeah, it's, you know, you can imagine that with the history in the background that there is better decision. Not saying that some decisions I still haven't questioned, and you know, here or there. No, I'm not saying necessarily.
Well, we're not going to talk about exactly which ones they are. I'm kidding. That's later. That's Suburban Body.
Where's that list?
Yeah, that was
of
the
Rich's
worst.
Projects.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, hi Rich, how are you? We just finished talking about how old you are. Brian started that conversation too. We didn't even have to prompt him.
Oh, that's awesome. Good thing I won't see him until next Monday. He'll probably forget by then. We're good.
So, incredible.
Yeah.
So being that you're so heavy on the Losi side, do you actually have any input on any of the other brands, or are you specifically like you're not allowed to say anything out loud once things have happened?
No, I think we still have pretty good team meetings. We still work closely together. But I kind of purposely try to stay away, right? And like stay in my own lane, if you will. I do know like Richard has obviously always been a diehard scale guy. Matt Higgins, the new brand manager for Axial, is doing a great job. So it's almost like, you know, I'm happy to help and jump in and give opinions. Richard's literally the door right next to me, the office right next to me. So we can always, you know, share ideas and whatnot. But for the most part, I kind of try to stay out of it, and kind of everybody kind of stays in their own lane.
That's fair. Do you routinely get like sales numbers on products? Like obviously I guess you probably see stuff like that. I'm not asking for any specifics, but do you ever look at like the Losi mini T spring sales and just go, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah, so and we've been on like 2015, 2016, like when I first joined marketing. I was probably a little bit later than that, 2017. Like we were so sales oriented. Every week was a sale. On social media was nothing but sales, like, you know. But yeah, no, I have pretty much access to all of our financial information for any aspect. And yeah, well, so my fingers, that's one of the pulses that my fingers on all the time to kind of see what things are going.
We got to make more Losi mini T springs again. Sold out of another 1,000 of them.
And it's crazy, man, because that's one of the things where, like, I think we can always do a better job at supporting the smaller stuff, you know, but it's a balance. Like, if we start doing awesome performing parts, then, like, again, we're kind of stepping into MIP's lane. We're stepping into Vanquish's lane. You know, so it's like everybody has.
Nobody cares about Vanquish, Brian. So don't even. I know you said that out loud because he's right there.
It's like I've emailed this guy before.
Yeah. So, dear Vanquish, sorry for making things.
Yeah, I think I think I talked to you first, Brian. When the Losi Rock Ray did the Rock Ray come out first? Or the Baja Ray? Rock Ray came out first, I believe.
Baja Ray.
Baja Ray
first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're so wrong on this one, Josh.
I couldn't remember. They were close either way, but yeah, I do remember that now. And I think that's when I had first talked to you, Brian. Was working on a project for that. I think that's when we did the rear axle. And just I think you were in a different position then, and you started picking up all this brand manager or the outside licensed brand stuff, and just kind of crazy. What's been your most interesting brand partner interactions? You have to go ride in a NASCAR or anything like that yet?
Oh no,
yeah.
dude, I have I trip out half the time. Like the fact that I can call like Dennis Anderson right now, like, you know, the Gravedigger, or like Casey Curry, or like, it trips me out. And these guys are all just normal, cool, humble guys, you know? So, God, experience wise, I think was actually getting stranded in with Randy Slauson and in the Bomber Axial Fest 2018.
Oh, were you with him when that?
Yeah, I was with him. We went for a
Fordyce
ride that ended up being a freaking life-ending experience almost. That was wild. Yeah. Thinking back, I'm like, the sketchiest part was he's a loose nut behind the wheel, which was cool. I trusted him. You're harnessed in. Whatever, no big deal. That wasn't the sketchy part. But once we got stranded in that river, we crossed the river, like barely, we limped it over. And in order to get back, we had to literally cross on a log. And the water's rushing. Like if I would have fell in, that's it. I'm out. And we're just like, he went and did it first, and I'm like, well, I can't look like a little bee, right? So here we go. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I would have done that a second time. Like, but you're thinking like, I don't know, 40, 50 feet on like I don't know, maybe like a log that's less than 2 feet wide. You're like, yeah, that was dumb. That was sketchy. That's probably been the craziest partner licensing work experience.
So another question here from the chat. The Cody Vandenberg wants to know when you guys are going to do a Porsche Dakar edition now that Josh and I are making one.
Man, if we could.
Sure, save us a lot of time if we could buy this body.
If you could just do that for us, that would be really helpful.
No thanks. Not in the works. It's one of those weird things. Like rally's definitely big, and especially in the EU, but like rally does not translate well into RC. Not really, right? For the average guy.
It's unfortunate because
it really is, because rally is awesome, but it doesn't. I mean, really nice competitions, you know, where they've got the cool course now, like running behind it. Like, it looks cool, but I don't really want to do it unless it like.
Well, that's because you can't run, but those of us who can would very much enjoy it. But yeah, you're totally right. That's something that I don't think we'll see anytime soon. The reason I brought up mini Teesprings, and you didn't catch on, and I kind of a little sad about this, but they fit on the new SCX10 Pro shocks as like another like miniature shock, and they've also been used for about 1 billion years on every comp truck ever. So I just wanted to kind of like let you know, don't stop making them, please.
Yeah,
I'll be sure to add that to our
the rears only.
Our projected lift.
The Chibs, thank you. He's really thinking that Losi needs to do a donk for us to give Red Cat some, you know, come up against the lowrider market.
I grew up in the lowrider scene, so I will definitely, my hat's off to Red Cat for that, and I
fully agree.
I will also
they did a good job.
Just because we're harping on Richard here, Richard has been wanting to do that project forever. And you could never get the buy-in. So Richard has a lot of solid ideas. You know,
it must just kill him.
Why doesn't he ever say any of
him a little bit inside?
He just
he just keeps them all on the inside.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I had that one written down.
One of the first experiences I had. So when I first this is a good example, by the way. When I first started at Horizon, that was just kind of happening. They were just talking about doing that. It was an early design. This was 2012.
And that is which one?
This is the Losi Audi.
Okay, yeah, that's the large scale, right?
Yeah, it's a 6 scale.
It's hard to see the scale of it when it's behind you. But yeah.
And it hell of a car, hell of a performer, super expensive. It also had the licensing agreement pretty much expired like 7 months after we released it. Renewal was going to be super expensive. Long story short, the point is, when they were designing that, Richard was like, you guys are nuts and overthinking it. Just grab our 8 scale. We have a great 8 scale. Everybody loves and, you know, does stuff with it. Stretch it, put an awesome body on it, wheels, tires, ship it. $600. No, we went out and complicated, sold it for $1,200. Arma releases a felony for $600, which is pretty much a stretched out 8 scale, and that's like their bread and butter. And Richard's over there like, whatever.
Yeah, I told you so.
Yeah, exactly. So he's got a lot of solid ideas, but that's like one of the first things that I ever heard Richard say. And then I'm like, yeah, maybe that guy does know what he's doing.
Okay, don't give him too much credit. And he's probably not even watching, so he's probably not watching anymore. His attention span for an old person is actually pretty short.
Yeah, it's 7 o'clock. His bedtime was about half an hour ago, so we're good.
There's a question we have to ask everybody.
Sure.
And it's, have you watched Flying Cars?
I have not.
This interview is over.
Well, it's a mandatory for a second appearance. Well,
yeah. If you want to come back, you got to watch this. 10 o'clock. You got to watch this terrible movie.
I'll grab Selena and we'll watch it.
Oh, yes, it's a date. It's a date movie. Yeah. It's a date movie, Brian. She's gonna love it because it has so little to do with RC. How old were you two when you got together?
Almost 5 years ago. So what would I be? 26.
Oh, this is gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
It's really gonna speak to you.
Oh boy! All right, maybe I gotta watch it now. I do know people that went to the premiere though. But
oh wow! Was
it in someone's garage?
It was a black T-shirt premiere, not black tie. just a nice black T-shirt.
Just you know what? Wear your best jeans.
Sounds good.
Where was it? Where was the premiere? Just out of curiosity, do you know?
Dude, believe it or not, I actually do think it was at
Man's Chinese Theater.
Yeah, believe it or
not,
he was there on like a really off time and day, but I do think it was there. I recall that being a thing.
Tuesday at 3 p.m.
Yeah. Just during lunch, someone's like, "I can get it on. Just come on."
Just hurry up. Let's get in
what
there.
Do you want to do? Work? Nah, let's go watch this movie.
It's pretty awful, but also really great too. It really does. It ticks all the boxes. Comedy, action, love story, remote control cars,
history. Like, how old is she?
Yeah, questionable relationships. But yes, it's a must-watch, and it's something we talk about on the show fairly regularly.
Sounds good.
Yep.
I was going to come on here and just make sure my chair was good, up to par. It's nothing fancy, you know.
You don't need a fancy chair to be on this show. Trust me.
According to you, you don't.
Yeah, Matt's is 200. Matt's is on the registry of historic items, but
yeah, I'm sending it to the Smithsonian immediately following this broadcast.
What kindergarten classroom from the 80s did you steal that from? Dude?
I didn't. This is not. It's a tall chair. It's like working. Like a man would work in this chair.
All right. I just saw the wood, and I'm just like, wow, because they're gums.
Oh man, back in the day, this is what you would have designed your remote control car on.
There's been thousands of cigarettes smoked out of that chair.
That's 100% true. This is Henry Ford's uncle's chair.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions for Brian while he's here? Hopefully not about Viterra, because we'd all like to forget about that.
We're half an open book. It can be development-wise. It can be marketing-wise.
Yeah. So you were on product development beforehand.
Yeah.
More on the design side, right? Like actually in there designing parts. What was your last project before you moved out into the?
So I pretty much handled. I was like the first guy when I first started Horizon. We were literally paying. His name was Tracer. He was used by a lot of people, but he was literally carving molds for bodies by hand. He was a dentist by trade, so he had like such still hands and all the tools and everything, which was really expensive and time consuming. Because you couldn't really start the body mold, especially on a ground up chassis, until you had the parts, right, for him to set it on and whatnot. So I was the first person within Horizon, believe it or not, to design a body in CAD.
Oh.
And that was in 2015.
2012.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we were doing things pretty old school, and because at the time we only had SolidWorks, right? And SolidWorks is not really a surfacing type program.
No.
It's definitely
No.
more mechanical and whatnot.
Did you design it in a chair like this, or was that dentist working in a chair like this?
It was more like Harley's cool chair, right? Just,
Do not encourage the chair.
You're welcome.
Long story short, I quickly became the body guy. So I really designed majority of TOR bodies up till the 22X4. That was the last thing I did. I did I would always work on like the Mini Cooper, the 5th scale WRC, full front clip of that. A lot of wheels, a lot of tires. So I was more of the aesthetics guys. Mechanically, like the last thing I did was when we went from a slide on the 22 steering system to a bell crank system, I was behind that. But it was a kind of a design and product development. So I was also running projects at the same time.
That's amazing.
Yeah. You have to wear a lot of hats at Horizon if you work there. You definitely don't just put on one hat.
Right. So I guess in those days it was just kind of joint design projects going around more. I mean, some of the projects now are still done that way, or are a lot of them done basically you have one designer, other than maybe like a body, since that is so different from normal mechanical style of things now.
On the surface side, like for RTRs and kits, it's definitely more split up than it was back in the day. Right now you have dedicated engineers, designers like Wyatt, for example, and then you have the dedicated product developer like Richard. So they'll work closely together. For me, I was a little bit unique, one, because I was doing the body, but it wasn't enough to keep me busy full time. So then I was just doing the easy projects, body refreshes, stuff like that. The stuff to kind of keep me busy enough to keep me around full time.
Yeah.
Question here or not a question actually from Spazx. Not a question, but huge shout out about the NASCAR sponsorship. Love seeing Horizon Hobbies schemes on
cool.
track. Yeah, that is very cool.
We're racing this week in Montana with the Horizon livery on it.
And I'm not even sure what any of those words meant, but
yeah, Matt and I both,
he's from Canada.
Formula
Formula
and we're getting close to starting
tomorrow.
But it is, and also to see that the NASCAR stuff has been put into some the special edition, the NASCAR truck body and the Mustang body.
Yeah.
It was cool to see that those come out and just kind of on their own even.
Yes.
Like that's cool to see. I like to see that it turns into something on both sides. It seems like a lot of times sponsorship stuff like that can sometimes it seems questionable. Like, is there any return out of this? But to see it turned into something that ends up going both ways is super cool to see. And I'm glad that they allow, that you guys get the okay from whoever pitches it, that actually gets the okay to make it happen. Because just releasing a body
out there that
on
Google
its own,
it, right? Like
Google
like any of the sponsorships on a NASCAR or F1 car that I'm not familiar with. Sometimes I'm like, what is that? And then I Google it.
Oh yeah, I've done that too. Like, what is jumbo.com? Like,
what is Stake? It's an online gambling site. You're welcome.
What is Patronus?
What is Patronus? Is any more bodies for the Baja Ray coming out? I'm sure you're not going to answer that. Now
right.
These are the hard hitting questions now.
Joseph Cannon, thank you.
I'll entertain it.
Entertain it. Okay. Because you guys usually do like a Mint 400 special, but usually that's just a livery, right?
I will confirm that there definitely won't be a Mint 400 limited edition this year.
Those greedy bastards.
I will say that there's definitely room for improvement in the Baja Ray. And not one, but maybe two options.
Interesting.
Nice.
I like it.
All right. I like it. I like
Joseph Cannon had a good one here. What's the best-selling product you've witnessed? Either that you were interested in or you were involved in or just in the team? Call it the Losi team, the umbrella that you've been in.
I mean, we have a gold-plated mini T. After we sold, and this was the original mini T, which was to celebrate the 100,000 unit that we sold. So that was wild.
Now, were you there when that was going on? I thought was that before?
I pulled weeds for 3 days to earn $100 to go buy one at a hobby shop.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, I remember getting a pretty. Yeah, I was gonna say they came out pretty early, so I was like, I thought that must have been before, but
and the project almost never made it to fruition.
I've heard some stories on that one.
Yeah, it's cool to know in the background to kind of hear the different thinking, but yeah, they didn't get it. The Vatera twin hammers, not to bring up Vatera again, but that was originally a Losi product that sat there done, completed tooling for 3 years doing nothing.
3 years.
Except it did something. It got cloned a lot.
It did. But imagine that car came out 2015. Imagine if that car would have came out under Losi 2012, 2011. It would have been the first official scale
huge
car, So there's definitely been some good things, some bad things. Nobody bats 1,000. But yeah, I think for me personally, I think it's amazing with the XCX24 sale. I'm sure you guys can imagine that. Yep. It's like you can't just have one. They're like Hot Wheels. You just buy another one, buy another one,
right?
But yeah, I think most recently, I think the biggest surprise that we had was the mini drag stuff. We were a little bit concerned with that, mainly because the drag scene kind of dumped a little bit. Mm-hmm. But the mini drag has been phenomenal.
It's funny you mentioned that. That was actually a question in here.
Yeah.
About no prep in general. Do you think that we've seen the end, or nearing the end, or do you think there's still room?
It's never the end, right? I mean, and I think you can go no prep drag, drones, comp crawlers, and they're all the same thing.
Yeah, right? Fast moving, fast evolving.
Very quick, and they get to the point where they get too complicated, too expensive, and the barriers to entry are way too high. So it alienates people.
Yep.
But Axel will tell you, Matt Kearney will tell you, all the OG Axel guys will tell you, they saw the scale industry and created the scale industry because after the comps were done, the guys were playing and having more fun with these things on the side once the event was over. So it's never truly over. I think if we do our jobs, it just sprouts new ideas, new things, Right. So,
now,
go ahead.
One thing that we didn't talk about earlier, I think we'd be, to not bring it up would be a bad thing. But with the release of the Razor Ray, the cost was the biggest comment on the cons side. How did you handle that? Did you expect it? Did costing come in different than what you had thought initially? What you can say whatever you want to say to whatever level. I understand where you got to
No, I mean I'll give you the straight up answer. I think I remember the exact day when the product developer came in. At that time, the hammer array was getting ready to announce, and we literally put a Baja array, a hammer array, and a Razor array together, and it's like $500, 580, 620, and it's like, whoa, there's a big window here. There's a bit of an issue. Like, it was. We know the price is high, but we also know that we need to make a margin. Again, going back to keeping our doors open, right? And when you look at the cost associated with developing a product, the biggest thing I could tell you, and this is kind of what it has to do, and Josh, and I'm sure you'll appreciate this, is normally when you have molds, you can get away, like if you think about like old school Tamiya parts tree, you got like 8-10 parts on that tree, right? Well, the parts on this car are so complicated, especially on the body side, that you can't put 8 parts in one because there's so many slides and whatnot in the part. So now we have to create 4 or 5 times the amount of molds to produce the same car.
Right.
Each mold, you're talking $10,000s. And we amortize that tooling load to our projects. So if we say we're going to sell 100 cars, tooling was $100, every car gets $1 tax to it, right? And Horizon gets its money back. So when you take that tooling load, you amortize it around the units we're going to sell during the first year and a half, that's what jacks up the price. And you'll see that. That's why we dropped the price, usually about a year and a half in, because by that time we paid off the tooling. We don't need to pay that anymore. The price drops. We don't get greedy as much as many people think. We lower our price, and we always try to offer our price as cheap as possible while still making the profit that we need to.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of wondered that with, especially with the molded parts like the rear engine covers, for where the engine covers would be on a Razor. Those sides, the hard molded plastic body everywhere, except the couple little Lexan pieces. Like, man, I was looking at those. I was like, yeah, for those to be hard molded plastic, there's a lot to that.
Yeah. And I think also you gotta have to sort of temper people's expectations, because if imagine you had said, well, we're not going to do any of those molded parts, we're just going to do it all in Lexan, and people would get it and they go, this is super cheap
this
junk.
Sucks. You're right, like
this is garbage.
You remember the old Proline golf cart body?
Yeah. J Concepts did the same thing, right? They had a all Lexan side by side body. It was just.
Oh, that's right. They did. It was God, I remember that thing.
That's a good example.
No surprise.
Yeah, if you guys go to the J Concept side by side body, and that's what it would look like, and that's what you would have paid $500 for.
Right. And you would have been pissed off that you did. So, you kind of have to look at the value proposition of what is actually going to give people that value for their dollar. And I think in this case, you made the right choice.
Thanks.
Price. It's either going to be for people or it's not. You can't. And it costs what it costs. And in the end of the day, people will decide with their wallets whether or not they want. The same kind of conversation came up with the UTB 18, the Axial 1/18 scale Capra. It was $249. It's like for an 18th scale. It can seem a little high. If you call it a 12 scale, maybe it seems a little bit more reasonable. But it's it was one of those things, and I think that those UTB 18s have looked like they've been fairly popular. I see quite a few of them. I see them out on the rocks here locally.
Sold out that was the first thing we sold out at the KOH. Just people love that kind of that perfect size, perfect price point. Usually, like, that's another thing, right? Like pricing wise. And I do have a question for you guys after this too. I think we're leading to that anyways, was like one thing I tell people, and actually I tell Richard this internally before, because Richard's old school. He's been with RC back when you can get a good RTR for $300, right? And it's like, guys, back then a PS2, a PS1 console was how much, and what is it now? Yeah, they used to give you a phone for free. Now how much is it? Like, like if you look at the cost of everything, like what do you expect? 10 scale RC cards to stay $300, for
it's never going to happen.
It's not. Yeah. It's not sustainable. So I think people are experiencing that shock. I think we could have. I mean, we get it for sure, but I mean, I will say Polaris have been great partners, but they're also one of the more expensive partners we have. And being that it's a new partnership, there's usually advances we got to make up for and pay for, right? And guarantees. So it's we're definitely not purposely trying to let's just make 100% margin here or 50% margin.
Right.
Trust me.
Wait, you're not like the fashion industry? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
One good question here that came in. I actually think this is a good one from Jay Rogers here. What's Brian's go-to car to play with? One that you'd never get rid of. What's the one thing that you'll always pull out and take for a rip?
Oh,
I don't drive them. See? Aha. Caught ya.
No. I do. I don't do it as much as I probably should, but trust me, guys, as much as I have the dream job, when you do this for 8 hours a day, the last thing you want to do is go home and wrench for another 3 hours, But no, I think
doesn't sound like Josh at all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like,
I would say if with my position and having the access to the cars, Super Baja Ray, hands down, pretty much kind of the most nimble, fast, realistic, everything you kind of need, just to show off and to have fun. Anywhere is good. But I would say this this isn't like a plug or me trying to be cheesy or corporate, but like this razor ray to me encapsulates everything that's cool about everything else in our product. It's a hybrid of solid rear axle, good over rough stuff, but it acts like an independent car in the corners. The speed is there, the performance is there, the durability on this thing is the strongest RC car I've ever legitimately had. Like that front flip that you see and that in the video, we did that on both cars, I kid you not, about 6-7 times. No problem. We call it PSAW testing, production sample operational testing, where we get A cars and we literally try to destroy them. Like we literally loosened the wheel nuts. That was all we did. Like the team was just like insane. So this it would probably become my go-to car. Before that, the Mini. Like I'm a sucker for Minis. Like the Mini T, original Mini T was like I was the dumb kid that like bought $100 Mini and poured like $1,000 over the next 3 years of my allowance money. But so those are dear to my heart. But I would say Razor.
And there's a comment here from Team Effort saying, wish that the Razor Ray was 5th scale, which if you scale out the Razor Ray, it's actually like 1/7 scale.
It's big.
Because but it's so it's like it's kind of there. It's one of those
pretty
things like
close.
they call it 10 scale. Well, like the Hammer Ray.
Mm-hmm.
The Hammer Ray is massive.
It's a UDR size,
Yeah.
But it's still
big.
called 10 scale.
Yeah. So that's my question. That's a good segue. Because we've been talking about this originally, and I originally brought this up when we were developing the new Losi website as kind of a shifting our way of thinking and marketing our products. Now, we see it on social media all the time, right? Especially like the mini drag. Mini drag car is technically more of a 10 scale, but it's marketed as 16 scale. Oh, Losi doesn't understand scales in this whole thing. And here's our side. I want to get your guys' side. I want to see what you guys, what's a good compromise, what's a good solution, or maybe we're screwed. First and foremost, the freaking slash scene, or the Traxxas slash was really the drag market was kind of the clear indicator of where I went wrong. Because you have a 10 scale short course truck that got converted to drag cars that are more like 8 scales, 7 scales, but they got marketed at 10 scales. Monster trucks is another thing. Right, another example. We don't want to market the Razor as a 7 scale, Hammer as a 7 scale, because then it goes, oh, it's a 7 scale and it's only 3S. Oh, I need an upgraded motor system. What kind of system does it use? 5th scale, 6th scale system, 10, So when we say scales, now we're really marketing what kind of power systems in the vehicle, not the scale.
Right.
So I think what we're thinking about doing is not marketing scales at all. We actually tested this with the LMT. The LMT, initially we didn't market it, even though it's an 8 scale. We didn't market it as 10th scale or 8 scale because we didn't want to confuse people on the power system, the body sizes, the whole thing. So we're thinking about really not using scales, but we don't know if we need to use like wheelbase. Do we use millimeters? Do we use inches? Right? Like originally we wanted to call like minis under, I think 100 or 200 millimeters of wheelbase, whatever. What is the solution? Because I don't see it getting any better.
Oh,
But we also understand consumers' frustrations of like, well, I bought a 10 scale. This thing's huge compared, to what a 10 scale should be. But we also don't want to confuse people on like, well, I bought a 6 scale power system for my 7 scale, and it's like half the size, So I wanted to ask that.
I agree. I think that, anymore the scale, denotation has just been a electronics classification.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, now I don't own one, but I never noticed that the LMT didn't have a scale attached to it. And honestly, I wouldn't mind that, period. You just don't call it a scale.
Mm-hmm.
You just
leave that up to us to figure out, just for the sake of like mentioning something in a video, because it literally doesn't matter anymore, unless you want to have something that's going to like comparatively look proper against it. Like if you want to have your, I don't know, something pulling a boat or another vehicle behind it. Like if you wanted to put the Hammer Ray behind something, then it kind of matters in terms of what size it is. But ultimately,
those things are never within
Doesn't matter.
scale, hardly.
Nothing's within scale. There's hardly anything. Like Tamiya did 9th scale on their bodies, and then everybody did 10th scale or 12th scale,
But
and it's all over the map.
didn't.
It doesn't matter.
Tamiya did 9th scale on a Toyota body, but then they made a Toyota Tundra body that was smaller than that one.
10th scale, yeah, exactly. It's all over the map.
Yeah, I would be way more happy with it just going away. And it just, you say it uses a 550 can 3S, 550 can 6S, and it's one of those. The good thing is that Losi is one of the few. I would say that, or Losi, Horizon in general, they've got such a power of, they have power systems and radio systems and everything, that they've got everything. They can control it all, and you can come up with consistent naming of motors and ESCs and radios and car sizes, and because you have all of it, and then you just make everybody else follow you.
Or you could do what some of the people are suggesting here in the chat and just use Scale Builders Guild squares. Everybody knows what a square is, so the new Losi,
We're all good with getting rid of scales, right? I think that sounds good, but do we need any? You
need wheelbase. I think wheelbase is still a good one to sort of measure by, just so people have an idea of the size of it.
People don't know what a wheelbase is. Is it to outside tire? It's to the middle. Why am I measuring to the middle of my tires? You can't. Have you been to RC events? Because
hey, easy now.
There's some people there that have an extreme grasp of every aspect. And then there are some that are there to play with an RC car and they don't care about it's supposed to be 12.8. It's actually 12.4.
I think the majority I think the majority of people don't really care about the size of it, the scale aspect of it in terms of how it relates to the full size. Does it look like the full size one? Great. That's all that matters.
Much money? Yeah. And how much money does it cost?
What kind of batteries do we need?
Have somebody hire someone who's pleasing to look at. Hold it, and it's either this big, or this big.
It's as big as this lady,
or maybe have everything be in proportion.
That's one thing we've. And I fought this, and our web team was like, let's just take a photo with literally like a blank soda can on every car, and it's like you have that as for a reference, and it's like, I like that, but man, it just seems cheesy to put a product photo with a soda can in it. It's like, do we use like a shadow of the real vehicle behind it?
Right. Yeah. Where you have but then it's like, does that do any justice when you have the monster truck and the monster truck shadow, and then you have the drag car and the drag car shadow? It's
literally fits in the wheel. It's like, oh, that's small,
So
small scale motoring suggested just use the bread box system. It's tried and true. Is it bigger than a bread box? Yes.
How
do people know what a bread box is?
No. I was going to say, is that a Canada thing? Your bread?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what this means.
You've never heard of that expression before?
No.
Is it bigger than a bread box? Really? Huh. Boy, you guys are young or not well read.
Banana for scale. That's exactly right.
Banana for scale. There you go. That's the one. Yep. Or grande venti, triple venti, Trento.
Tall, grande venti, Trente.
We'll figure
so Josh is saying it should be a letter to represent the scale. A, B, C, double D, whatever.
Complicate things even more, for sure.
You know what? Well, I think people would be willing to put in the work to study it.
Definitely not. All right. Scales are already I always remember the what is it? Was it Burger King? Their whole thing, their whole marketing push is like a 1/3 pound burger.
Yeah.
And people were like, no, that's a shitty value. That's less than a 1/4 pound. And it's like, no, it's more. Darn Americans, come on, guys. Let's.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if banana doesn't work, maybe a plantain.
It's one of those things that we all are happy to complain about. We don't really have the answer. But
there's no good answer yet.
If you can just move forward with getting rid of the scale, you're good. Just make people get used to it.
I wish it was that easy.
I know.
Like it's like our filtering system needs something that's going to crash. Like the filter. So it's just. It seems like a simple thing of just go, hey, Control Delete or whatever, and no, it's not.
Especially when it's baked into the name of so many cars. 8, 5, 10, 24, 18. It's all. Like,
well, wait a second. What's the 22 then? Is the 22 22nd scale? That's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Quit. Just stop.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just leaving scales. That's all I learned tonight. Was like, it's not worth it. Nobody's gonna be happy. There's no answer.
Let everybody keep
There's no
bitching.
answer. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's probably a good place to wrap it up, unless you've got anything else, Josh.
No, I think glad you popped on here, Brian. We'll have you back as soon as you finish watching the prerequisite.
Oh God. I really want to be back. I don't know if I want to watch that movie, guys.
It's on iTunes. It's super easy. You can just rent it. Actually, I think you might have to buy it. I don't think there's a rental option. But I don't know. It's worth owning. I've watched it like multiple times.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna just like screen record it or something for me, like that. Or I'm just gonna start spamming your guys' chat right now to get some.
Prop my phone up on FaceTime for you.
I think I've solved your scale problem. Just put a picture of me on the box and the car next to me. Because everybody goes, wow, he's so much taller in real life. Then the cars will appear to be much larger as well.
You have that wrong, Matt. But,
No, everybody thinks I'm bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that car is quite small. Yeah. All right.
So you're not going to do us any favors.
Next time,
I think that's a huge favor.
Brian, we hope to have you on. Just
even
give
beforehand.
us a couple months notice. All the press photos, things like that.
For sure. It was already so much of a chore to be on here tonight. So I'm gonna need
one last question before you go, just because you're in Matt's company. Have you ever leaked a new product by accident?
JRXT was an accident. Did you guys hear about that?
No.
So we were in the holiday shuffle. A lot of people were on vacations, all right, and there were some new people within new positions. And I was on vacation, but we did a marketing ad for the magazine ad for the JRXT, for RC Car Action. They were told, put it in the February issue. Well, the February issue of RC Car Action comes out like early January, not February, boys. What they should have said is put it in the street date February, the February street date magazine. So that got leaked, full car photo, QR code, the whole thing, but the QR code wasn't leaked. So yeah, that leaked and everybody was like, and trust me, we wish we can leak stuff, but that's one of the kind of bad things about Horizon, let's say. If I can leave something, like there is red tape, and if we leak stuff, just like Hemistorm or that Polar Ray that he did, dealers get pissed. Why don't I know about this? Customers are calling me. I look like I'm dumb. I don't know what I'm doing or selling. They light us up. So they pretty much restrict us to go, if you guys are going to tease something, you have to tease it after sales training, and you have to tease it late enough to where hobby shops are closed and they're not going to get bugged until the next morning, and they know.
Wow.
So, but yeah, that was one of those leaks. Other than that,
that's really funny. It's really funny that most hobby shops say that, because if I'm honest, I haven't run into a lot of hobby shops that are well informed to begin with.
It's always
just kidding.
And we know that was my first job. It's always the kid behind the counter that is in tune what's going on, that goes to his boss and goes, "Hey, have you seen this?" And they go, "Hey, how do I get this first?" And I saw it first, and
gosh darn it.
So
yeah. Well,
kids in your internet. Thanks again, Brian. This has been really awesome.
Happy to jump on any time.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. You will definitely be welcome back.
Again, yeah, absolutely. Anytime you got something new. Happy to have.
Anytime you want to just hang out.
Or just something that you really want to bitch about, where if Rich did something ridiculous.
Yes.
We should have an episode dedicated to Rich and all of Rich's stories for sure.
Oh my God. There's not enough time. We don't have, it's only 2 hours. We're going to way overdo it.
Yeah.
Thanks again, man. Always a pleasure.
Pleasure. Bye, everybody.
Great to talk to you.
Yeah.
Bye. All right, I've got to get you back. There you are. All right.
I've got it.
That was great.
My Skype continued to act up the entire time. But
did it?
Nuts. It is what it is.
Well,
we got through. So,
great guy.
Awesome.
Heck of a guy. Nice to get some insight into the Losi side of things, because
yeah, absolutely.
You know, they're an interesting company. They're doing some pretty cool stuff over there, I gotta say.
You know, and it's one of those things. Like, yeah, even all the stuff that he has to do.
He wears a lot of hats over there.
He's got to do all this stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of people doing, or there's a few people doing a lot of things.
No kidding. I think a lot of people think that these RC companies are just like thousands of people, huge warehouses, and all kinds of like moving parts and stuff happening. It's like 10 guys.
Yeah, it's just, you know, like what's going, like, I don't know. Everything's always on fire. That's what it's like.
There's a million projects happening, and there's 3 guys that are the only ones who can answer. It's like they're all like, you know, like there's always like the key holder manager he's the only one who can open the store. They must have like 3 sets of keys for every project for over there.
Yeah, you know, and it's one thing that Brian said. You know, like he is, you know, goes to work, works on it all day, comes home, doesn't really want to wrench on it, which I get, because like for me,
Incorrect.
when I go to work, I'm not necessarily doing exactly what, you know, he's doing or normal, like people at Horizon may be doing.
You're barely doing anything there most days, so you know it's really super easy for you to come home and play with RC cars, because that's not what you do there.
Yeah, we like, it's a machine shop. We have machine shop things going on, and that is what that is what my normal, you know, I had a spindle go down today.
Yeah, lube those machines.
You're right. So, you know, there's a big difference there, and I'll give him that. I could imagine, I don't know, I think I'd still come home and continue to do it for another 10 hours. But
yeah, obviously. Because we all know this, YouTube probably pays better than most of these positions at the hobby companies.
It, you know, could, depending.
Most likely does.
That, you know, that's sometime. If we bring him back on at another time whenever he's available. We'll have to ask about the whole the difference. He's SoCal, so
yeah,
you know, they've got half a company in the Midwest, half a company in California, and working like that.
That's interesting. That's got to be a tough one.
Yeah. So,
because even like that's a 2-hour time difference, right?
Yep.
In the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Champaign, Illinois.
Would you like some champagne?
But no, I was super. I've met
Josh,
Brian a handful of times.
He's a great guy. Sorry, I was just complaining about your screen going. I just did it again. Son of a bitch.
I'll keep doing the stupid hand signals, and then it'll.
If you could just have a stable internet connection, that would be amazing.
My internet is super stable, thank you. For some reason, OBS likes to act stupid, but I have things to discuss with you on that anyway.
Hey, Tony CCXRC, how are you, pal? Skype get a Windows update or something? I don't know. Did it? I haven't. I don't think I've updated my Skype in ever.
It's a constant pain in the ass. But maybe that's why mine was acting stupid, because I haven't updated it in a while. But
I am never updating.
All I know is if I update OBS, then I lose the ability to integrate Skype again. Like,
I don't understand how they could break something so needed. Like, we need this.
Yeah. So,
like, do they want us to go to Streamlabs? Because I don't want to do that. I like this.
I would much rather not go to Streamlabs either. Teams or Discord, both of those, they don't have the same ability for what we're trying to do as well, and being able to broadcast to multiple places. So Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what a pain. But we'll decide. We'll figure it out.
Imagine,
Or not.
Grimjurster goes, imagine going to work for Horizon and living in SoCal, and they tell you you're transferring you to Indiana. Do you quit?
Yeah, and then you
or
have
go?
You have to commute to Illinois, where the company is. But no.
Yeah, because it's in Champaign, Illinois. It's not in Indiana.
I know what he meant. Same.
Yeah.
If you live
Same,
on this
same.
side, it's all the same over
It
there.
doesn't matter. Yeah, all those stupid Midwest states, whatever.
It's just the flyover states, as they call them.
Speaking
Which is
of,
where I'm from.
yeah, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you're not really from there, though, right? You're from Missouri?
Nebraska.
Nebraska. Yeah, right. See,
Then
I don't even care.
Then I moved to Missouri.
Right.
So, Missouri's where I call home.
So, we're flying to Colorado here in a little bit now. How
Yes,
many months
we are.
do we have?
Not
Not enough. Okay. All right.
Not enough.
Well, I ordered an SCX 10 SCX 10 Pro.
Yes.
No, just an SCX 10. It's my class 3 this year. So that should be here in the next couple of days, depending on the heavy snow situation. Oh yeah,
Right.
I also printed that. I forgot to tell you.
Yeah.
There it is. Look at that.
That came out.
Mine looks
that came out
way
well.
better.
Yeah,
Way
the
better
two-tone
than
looks
yours.
good. I'm out of Galaxy Silver still. I have not reordered.
Isn't it
Although I did
kind of a pain that you can only buy it from Prusa?
So I think that maybe we can get it from Matter Hackers. Is that right? I believe that you can actually order from them. And I haven't. Someone told me that, and I went, "Oh, that's a really good idea." And then I've never actually ordered from them.
Matter.
I only thought people not from Missouri called it Missouri. Well, that's because I'm actually not from Missouri, but I moved there, so I still call it Missouri, instead of Missouri, like most people who live there forever say.
Brand.
What sliders do I have on the Pro? There's some sliders I designed as well because I needed them to fit the body better so they don't stick out.
This is not on this list.
Pretty rad two-piece design. So
pretty rad. They're pretty rad.
Yeah, but fits nice.
Oh, that's cool. What body is that? The creep.
The
crunch.
Yeah.
What's that new one called? What's that one that looks like the thing?
The Corvair?
Yeah, what do they call that?
Corvair.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. How can they get away with that?
I'm guessing it's licensed. I don't know.
Amazon has Prusa filament, eh? I think you're actually, when you order through Amazon, you're ordering it through Prusa.
Do I still have to pay the $75 shipping?
That's why you order it in volume.
The Corvair is no longer licensed. What does that mean? It just released. Or didn't even officially release yet.
Jason Williams said the Morvair.
Morvair is what the nickname for Matt's Off-Road Recoveries version is.
Oh, MOR. I get it.
Corvair is the name of the full-size actual car.
Did they really license that?
I mean, it had to be like 95 cents to do it. Like, you want to do what? Sure.
Hello, Corvair Industries.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yes. I mean, I guess. Goodbye.
The original licensing on that name is expired. Oh, okay. That could be. So it's just one of those ones where you don't have to worry about it anymore. I guess I could see that. I guess I'd be surprised if that was the case, but sure. Yeah, sure. I mean,
Clockwork. Maybe you got your Prusa Mint from Amazon. I don't have access to that here. I would have to. It's direct to Prusa, even through Amazon. Good for you. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So we've got some work to do on these bodies still.
Yep.
Just a bit.
Yep. I'm gonna start printing the other half of my fender mold tonight. The
I
fender
might
mold.
let you do that one first.
Yeah.
Before I start printing it, just to make sure it works. You can walk me through.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Because this mold for all 4 pieces of it is like, it's like 24 hours with a 0.6 nozzle.
Oof.
Yeah, it's a lot. The files for the sliders available for sale as well. They're not. I haven't ran them yet, and I'm not 100. I have to hope that they're good enough yet. They're an interesting two. They're a 2-piece design per side. I'll show you actually quick because of how the design of that with all the link holes is. Link holes are. I had to come up with something that was a little bit different. But this has been a fun kind of project overall, but I'll take a body. So I have these 2 countersunk screws on each side. And when this side comes off, take that off. Then this is an outer skid kind of for the slider.
Nice design.
Where the slider base is still on the side there. So, because there's just like with how all the screws and all the adjustment in there is, by the time if you tried to make a normal kind of looking slider, it just turned into this Swiss cheese looking disaster. So I came up with something, and then I was like, and then I decided to just make a kind of a form-fitting cover to clean it up as much as I could, and it actually worked out all right. So
I like that. That's pretty good. Nice design.
But I have to. I mean, I hope that it's good enough, but it's different enough that I'm not going to just automatically assume that it's good to go.
Yeah. Scaled RC, does the VS410 Pro come with the VFD twin? Negative.
No, standard VFD, but it comes with all machined gears, aluminum motor plate, and aluminum posts. So it's kind of like the beefiest built VFD you can buy.
Yeah. Henry's RC Garage, thank you very much. What's the name of the wireless mic you use for running videos? That, sir, is the Harleyland M1. And it's fantastic.
Absolutely can recommend as well.
Yeah, that comes highly recommended. It always sounds fantastic. Really, really good.
It really does. I really like that.
Yeah. So I'm super impressed with it.
And I have
thank you very much.
I have the Rode mic goes, or what are they called?
I don't know what the Rode.
No, that's not it. They're the square ones. The that Rode has had.
Yeah.
You always see.
I don't know what it's called.
I prefer the Hollylands that I got after the fact. I think that they just sound better. So
they do.
And I actually like the use of them and the all the stuff on it. Just better.
Carrying case is great. The way it integrates and sounds awesome. Yeah, which is a charging case too, because you charge the case.
I had to get an additional case that looks just like this to try and to be able to charge my Rhodes like the Hollyland comes with. So
ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculous. Tell you.
Would the bed for the Pro work with the comp wagon? Is the creeping power wagon same dimensions? Yeah, it's basically the same setup.
Oh, good, because I have the power wagon body.
It sits on there just the same. The sliders are about the same as well.
Exceptional.
So,
do they record direct to the mic as well? No, Tony, just internal. And you are welcome, Henry. Yeah, it's a good product though. Hey, what'd you do these holes on the side for? What are these for?
They go right into one of the shock tower holes.
Oh, sick. Okay, great. I wouldn't know. I don't have an SCX10 Pro yet.
Bolts right in through there. Lines up with.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's very sturdy.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm gonna hopefully get mine started soon, because I really do need to have a Class 2 or 3 build in addition to the Artful Dodgers. I don't know. Yeah. How should I? What would you do? What would you do if like I want to run the Artful Dodgers?
Yeah.
Would you make that Class 2 and then the Axial Class 3?
Man, I would run the Axial Class 2 if I was you. Okay. And push the Artful Dodgers to Class 3. Not anything against the Artful Dodger chassis or Artful Dodger stuff, but at the same time, element axles, their gears are like not going to be ideal for Class 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would tell you to swap axles on that truck. At least put axial axles underneath of it. If you want to still run the element trans, you could, but sure. I would tell you to change those out. Even just pick up some F10 straights or some F10 portals, one or the other. Yeah. And just replace the axles, and you'd probably be better off.
And I'll do the 32 pitch swap on the
trans too. Yep.
There you go. Okay. Problem solved.
That would be my my suggestion.
All right.
I say that while I have no plans on my Class 2 or 3 like this. No, I do. I have decided.
Oh, you have you?
That the Class 3 will be the
right. It's the Magnum XL for Class 2 or 3?
3.
Yeah.
It obviously has to be the biggest class. Like,
well, yeah.
Joker 510714. Thank you, sir. Artful Dodger chassis Class 2 swap axles. Use the Stealth X for the weight savings. Stealth X for the weight savings. That is a massive transmission.
It's big.
That and weight savings is no.
Let's go together.
You can get a little tiny transmission for weight savings. But yeah, there's some options there. Stealth X is chunky. Yes, it is quite chunky.
Yeah. They call it the big chunker, I think.
Class 3 4-wheel steer or dig this year? 4-wheel steer for me.
I might do dig. I might swap it up, change it up. Oh no, wait, I can't.
No, rear steer. Either way. Rear steer.
We'll be doing rear steer on that one.
Do rear steer. So yeah, I think we'll figure something out there. But Brett from Brazen Scale did a live Monday. Yes, Monday.
Oh, did he? Oh.
Yep. And he had showed off his C1, 2, 3 builds. And he's running his C1 Pro chassis in all 3 classes.
Interesting.
Yeah, it really was.
That. Good for him.
It looked pretty good. They actually all had pretty much the same drivetrain too, just different link lengths, tire sizes, things like that.
Yeah.
Wheelbases, all that. I was like, that's pretty interesting.
That's cool.
And the nice thing about that, I had looked at, I was like, that's pretty, because that C1 Pro is a pretty low profile chassis. I was like, that may fit inside of a Mon 14, but
oh God, what are we gonna do in Class 1
for a chassis?
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
What I love about this project, for me, is very little effort required except on the actual doing. Like, I don't have to think much. It's just like Josh does all of the big brain stuff, and he goes, make this, print this out, fill this full of silicone, put some carbon fiber in. I don't have to. I just like, okay.
Yeah, it's we're gonna get there. I'm gonna I may have Brandon help get me
Have Brandon help.
just because, he likes Porsches as well. So
Yes.
convincing him to be like, hey, open up my file here and take a look. Because we've got some complicated steering to figure out.
We've got a lot of complicated to figure out.
I have a lot of things to like work through before this car is there's still plenty of chance that we absolutely spiral in flames on this thing and we pivot and have to make something different. It could happen. It is a very ambitious goal that I have no idea if it will work.
Me neither.
Every time I print one of these molds and I'm just like, Jesus, like this is and then I'm just like, I got 22 hours of printing on a fender and then I got to make the other fender. And
it's almost as bad as printing out your own snowmobile.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how many hours you had in your snowmobile?
I think a good approximation is probably, I don't know. I felt like it was running every day 24/7 for like 2 weeks.
Jeez.
So 200 hours is probably, conservative.
Yeah. I bet.
Is there a way that you can check on the Prusa how many hours it's been printing? It doesn't keep.
I think there's a total. Is there a total clock on it? I don't know.
I should take a look.
Statistics.
There is a statistics?
Oh my God. Total print time.
Yeah.
What is your total print time at?
Hang on, I gotta find it. Where is that?
Main menu towards the bottom. Statistics.
Oh my God. I don't know if I want to go first or not.
I'm at 387 days, 2 hours and 47 minutes.
Wow, you're crushing me. I'm at 62 days and I thought that was a long time. Holy cow. That's crazy.
I just crossed over 10,000 meters of filament.
I'm at 4,000 meters.
Yeah, I just crossed 10,000 meters.
10, I mean, you had yours. You got yours after mine.
After you.
That's crazy. Holy cow. Patina Guy, thank you very much. How is your 59 chassis truck coming along? It's good. I'm waiting for good weather so I can paint.
Yeah, that's
nuts.
That's
these
so
printers
much
are
printing.
These are so worth every penny you pay for them.
Yeah. Whoa. That is
incredible.
Nuts. So there you go. That's why mine sounds so bad. Like I just got that new one at work and I'm just like, man, this thing sounds so good. I'm like, mine sounds bad. Now I understand why.
I love you, Prusa. That's a good machine.
Jeez. Longest single print to date, 96 hours. Oh, no, I don't think I've ever printed anything over.
I think 30
over
is
30
my
hours.
Record. Yeah.
Yeah, 30 hours around is maybe my most. But almost especially going to the 0.6 nozzle, almost nothing I print is longer than 16 hours now. Pay up, sucker. Thank you, sir. Evening, guys. Moose Jaw's accepted my custom paint job. Ships out tomorrow.
Cool.
Pretty thrilled. Colorado Class 2. Thanks, Moose Jaw and guys. Congratulations. Yeah, I can't.
That's
you know
awesome.
what? It's been a good printer. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think those kind of statistics right there sell that machine in and of itself. That's pretty amazing.
Honestly, I've been like with mine, like it sounds, it's got like some clicky, and I can't find where it comes from. I'll like listen, and there's like a belt, and it's like in one spot, but I can't figure out where it's coming from.
Mine, when it gets to it like towards the rear, like right side, if it's doing a print, it goes he. Other than that, solid. Pay up, sucker. Thank you very much. Evening, Matt. Buying you a beer. Cheers. Appreciate that.
That's funny. Andy C in here. 334 days, 17 hours for me at almost 10,000 meters. So like we were like right there. I was at 387 and just over 10,000 meters. He's just unmatched. Yeah, right at it.
Yeah,
So,
the GOAT is at 211 days, 7,100 meters. Thomas Bialzik, 1,500 hours.
Hours or
1,500 hours.
okay.
So how many days is that?
You're a little over probably 1,500 hours.
That's 62 and a half days. Yeah, so I'm right at 1,500 hours too.
So,
Heartland RC said, "Do that again, Matt."
sound like Forrest Gump in the.
I'm like, what noise? What's making that noise? It's like
talking about
as
mom.
It's going past a certain point on the bearing on the x-axis, I think.
Andy C said he got his Prusa the same month as me, so we both just said print. I think that like whenever we did the last Road to Scale Nationals, that printer just didn't turn off during that. Like I was printing molds until the last week of that, and I was just like solid 3 months. I'm like, well, here it goes. It just has to print. Like here.
Print, my little friend. Print. Good robot. Good quality robot. That's awesome. All right. On that note, it's probably good to end this show.
Yep.
Thank you to Gunnar Nissen, Blind Guy RC, Henry's RC Garage, Patina Guy, and Pay Up Sucka. Thanks, guys.
Thank you to I missed one from Blind Guy RC. I'm sorry about that. Gunnar Nissen, A-Dubs FPV, Blind Guy RC, who I missed. I'm sorry. Ahoy, awesome flatbed on the SCX Pro. I'll be using a Beetle body. Jeremy Clarkson says, wait, what does he say about it? Oh, Jeremy Clarkson says a 911 is just a Beetle. Yes, that is true.
He's not wrong.
Chibs, thank you. Joseph Cannon, Joker 510714, Pay Up Sucka. Much appreciated. There you go.
Appreciate you guys.
Yes. Much appreciated.
Tomorrow, What's on the Bench weekly, 8 a.m. start. You'll see the low trail F-150 and all the ski ride in its glory. That's it for that show, though. So hope you like low trucks.
Right. Buck Dandy. Thanks for sneaking one in. Buck Dandy is still my favorite person. Buck Dandy for president.
You have to read whatever they say.
It's the rule. Again, thank you guys. Thanks, Brian, for coming on. And
yeah, that was amazing.
See
Thanks,
you
Brian.
Next Wednesday. And of course,
see you on the flippity flip.
Flippity flip.
Love you. Bye. Flip you for real.
Flip you for real.